Hi, everyone. I'd like to tell you a little bit about how I mark the speaking assessments that I have. I do this for the students that are newcomers using the CLB system in Canada, as well as my students at the universities when they're giving a presentation. And so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Trevor Fall. I've taught English since 1998, and I've also trained new ESL teachers in Canada since 2017. I've been a practicum supervisor, etc. So using technology in today's world really speeds things up. I used to have a speech, I would listen to it, I would take some notes, and then give the students feedback. And what I've done is used usually either Microsoft Office or Google Docs, etc. But when you have the feature within those programs to transcribe, and what I do is take the audio or the video of what a student has spoken, and then I transcribe it using either of those Word documents or Word document in either of those programs. And then from there, I am able to highlight using find and replace. And so I want to show you that highlight the transition signals, the topic sentence, specific details that we're looking at. So maybe it's imperatives, maybe it's prepositions, maybe it's um, different parts of the grammar, compound sentence connectors using complex sentences, etc. So I want to show you that process today. And if I was marking 20 students, I think today I have 18 or 19. I'm guessing this whole process will take about 2 hours. Whereas if I was listening to their speeches one by one and then going through, taking notes, giving feedback, making corrections, it would definitely take me 4 or 5 hours, sometimes even longer. So let me share the screen, and I'm just going to show you what I do to set up. So I've already downloaded their audios. So that took me like 7, 8 minutes. I just made a few changes for the titles of it so that I had each person, and I have just their first names and initial here, so that should help with privacy issues. Then I open up two Word document tabs. And the reason I do two is because when you transcribe, it does take a few minutes. And so this allows me um, to be working, like it could be transcribing on one, and then I'm also transcribing on the other one simultaneously. I used to open up three or four or five, but I found that just got a bit confusing, and I'm able to do this a little bit faster. I follow, uh, I probably won't remember his name. There was a gentleman in the US that helped in business, both in America and Japan. I think it's Demir's his last name, but Mr. Ford and others. I've read a lot of the books of those who looked at how do you be more efficient. And so whenever I'm doing tasks, I'm like, okay, how can I speed this up, or how can I use technology to help with some sections of these? And so even if it's a minute or two that I'm speeding up in an hour, when I'm looking at how much I'm marking during a year, and I use the same system for students when they're writing, so then there's literally hours each year that I'm saving just by making small changes each time I'm doing this. So anyway, let's go back so what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to worry about saving the documents yet, but I'm going to go to transcribe, and I hope that you can see that just underneath where my face is on the screen. So I go to upload audio, and I need to find the file that this is in. So that was the skill using that I did last time. Now I'm going to go to the assessment. So I go to the first person, just click on open, and it's going to start, and the little cat with his headphones is going to sit there, and it says uploading may take a while. Leave this window open. So I go to my second window that I have opened, and then I go to the second person on that list. Okay, so let's get that started. And I probably could add a third person in the time it takes, but sometimes I start to get a little bit confused. So let's go back. You can see the first one is done. So I go down to add to document. They have just text with speakers with timestamps, or with speakers and timestamps. So I usually find with speakers, because sometimes this audio recording picks up someone else is speaking in the classroom, or sometimes I'm making telling them how much time's left or giving it a direction or two, and you can hear that in the background. So this helps highlight that. Now you can see that it's very large, but that's because I have there we go. Okay. So let's make that a little bit smaller. So I don't worry about anything else right now. I'm just opening the documents and adding them. So I'll do that for the second one. I can also reduce the so that it's not as big, but still big enough for us to see. Okay, so then I go to new transcription, and it does, so this is where when I open up multiple documents, that way every file had that person's name and I had their recording. But I have their recordings anyways, and I don't need a file for each student because I'm going to just put everything into one file. Then I can copy and paste into an email once I've made their corrections. So I delete the the old transcript. I upload and so I did number one on this. I did number two on the second document. So I'm going to go to the third person here and start uploading that. Go back to this, put a new transcript, click OK, upload audio, and go to the fourth person. So that's where, because I have two documents, that's where I'm just bouncing back and forth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go down. And there's one more thing I'll do where, in order to keep this in the same order as the audio, I bring this into my first document. You don't have to do that. You could just have both documents together, and then you could transfer everything from the second document into the first document at the end. So it's more just depending on where you're at. So then here, I'm going to add this to document. It goes down. Then I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to add this to the document. Okay, and then copy this person's. So you can see, well, you'll see more when I'm going through them, but some of these are short and some of these are a little bit longer. And I go to so I'm going to pause the video. You don't need to watch me look at all of these one by one, but that's basically what I'm doing. I am using the transcribe feature, and I'm able to go through fairly quickly, as you can see, and have that transcribed. Now, when I first started transcribing, it was usually about 70–75% accurate, especially if people were talking about places in their home country or about different words that were not in English. However, I'm finding that it's greatly improved, especially in the last 2 years. And so I would say it's about 90–95% accurate. So it depends. If I see there's glaring, obvious mistakes, I will go in and correct it, like a person's name or a place in the city where I'm at in Winnipeg. But otherwise, honestly, I'm not making a lot of extra corrections, but I do go through everyone's transcript and correct their grammar. And so that would be a place where, as I go through, I might say, oh, okay, this audio isn't very, this the transcription was not as clear. I find I'm doing a lot of teacher talk right now, so maybe I'll slow down and just see. Okay, so I just want to confirm that I'm still following. Okay, so that was, yeah. Every once in a while I go back and check just so that I'm not losing track, and that I'm making sure that I'm copying these in the order. Yeah, so this person, for example, I saw that the transcription of their name did not come out, so I will be changing that. Okay, I'm going to pause and then I'll come back once I've finished this process. I'm back, and I just realized maybe there's a simpler way to explain this. So I'm going to just take a look at this example, or at least eliminate a step. So once I've transcribed, so this is Nuri's information. So I add it with the speakers, and then what I was doing was going back to the other document. I think what's easier is, while I'm still on this window, then start the new transcription. Okay, so I go in, I go down to people, and I start the next transcription, then go back. By that time, this transcription is done. So I add that, I copy it so I can bring it into the first document, start the new transcription, upload audio, go down to people and get the, so that way I'm getting things done. Yeah, I'm eliminating one step of going back and forth. So I'm not sure if that is helpful. For some of you that say, looking at this, you're saying, Mr. Trevor, this is just too confusing. That's no problem. What you could do is then just have one Word document and just one by one go through and download. Maybe if you're watching TV or you have something else that you're doing, because there will be, and that's the frustrating thing. It's not long, it's not like 3 or 4 minutes where you're waiting in between, but it's also not, 10 seconds. It's like 30, 40, 50 seconds. So because of that, there will be a little bit of waiting time as you're going back and forth with this transcription process. Okay, so I'm going to, well, this person spoke quite a bit. That's good. So I'm going to head back here, add to document, then add this other person, new transcription, create, upload, and we're almost done. Okay, I'm going to pause it again just to finish off these last few people. So I've transcribed all of them, but what I do is I make a final check just to make sure I haven't missed anyone, especially in this case where I'm talking, making the video. So what I'm going to do is I open up the folder. I'll have that beside here with easy access. I should have made the font larger overall, but anyway, so then I'm just going to go one by one and make sure that I've transferred everything into one document, like cut and paste, but also that I've transcribed everything. So I have the first speaker, then I have the second speaker, then I have the third speaker, and then I have fourth speaker, and then the fifth speaker, I think. Yeah. Okay, and then I have a sixth speaker, yeah, seventh speaker, yes, eighth speaker. This is where I don't remember if I cut and paste. Yeah, see, I didn't cut and paste one person there from the second document. So let me just go down and do that. So that way it's just a little check and make sure that I've got everyone that I need. See, and even by doing this process, I can start to identify and say, okay, even without going into details, I can see that some people are just speaking a few sentences and others are actually quite, are giving me quite a lot of information. Okay, so let me just go back to the speaking. So I'm here, Lisa Marie. Okay, so there's a second person that I didn't transfer in from. Okay, and then I will also clean it up a little bit, meaning like I'll take out where the words audio file and transcript, and I'll show you a quick way to do that. Whoops, talking and not thinking. So let's go back up here. I just want this one person, not the last three. Okay. And again, for some of you right now, you might be thinking, okay, well, like, how is this actually saving me time? This seems like a lot of back and forth, but basically the length of this video plus another, say, 3 minutes that I've cut out, and I'll have everyone's just in that time frame, I have everyone's information transcribed. So yes, it does speed you up quite a bit. So let me just check, and then I have that person, and then I have the last person on my list. Okay, good. So now that I have everyone, let's move into the oops. Now that I have everyone, let's move into the find and replace feature. And so I'm actually going to put that in a part 2, just so that if some people are just looking at that specific help for that, then they can just be watching that video and not looking at how I do the transcribing. So I will be back in a second video.